If you're considering moving to Dallas, that is no small feat because you're stepping into a scattered, confusing market that from a bird's eye view might look simple enough, but that actually makes no sense whatsoever. It can be dangerous too because it's very easy to get upside down by overpaying for a home if you don't understand the market. Well, lucky for you, we're here to clear up that confusion. Today, I'm going to tell you the top 6 things you absolutely must know because if you're going to buy in the Dallas housing market, you need to understand the Dallas housing market. Well, hello, this is Wendy Pinnell, and the first thing you need to know about the Dallas housing market is that there is no such thing as one size fits all when it comes to understanding buyer demand here. Instead, you have this wildly fluctuating level of demand that differs by the city and even by the neighborhood. Like in one city, it might be perfectly appropriate to offer 20% below the list price and have your offer accepted overnight. In other areas, you better bring your A game and plan on offering well above the list price. One of the biggest mistakes you can make when buying here is not understanding that every suburb, even every neighborhood can be wildly different. Imagine going in and offering above the list price on a home you could have bought for $50,000 less. It is dangerous to buy in Dallas if you don't understand this principle. So what you want to do is never generalize the demand or the prices here. In fact, let me give you just a few examples of this, okay? The median sales price for DFW as a whole, is right around $361,500. The median sales price for the city of Frisco, north of Dallas, is $603,000, while the median sales price for the city of Duncanville, south of Dallas, is $275,000. Another example, in Prosper, homes are routinely selling at 91% of their list price, whereas if you head on over to University Park, homes are selling at 99% of their list price. Homes are staying on the market an average of 83 days in Weatherford, whereas they're selling like hotcakes in Watauga in just 35 days. Or how about this one? Are you interested in buying new construction at 80% of their list price? Well, if you are, in that case, you're going to want to check out places like Salina or Mansfield, or Waxahachie, but you won't find those steep discounts in places like Red Oak, where homes are selling at 98% of their list price. Or how about this one, Sunnyvale, where they're selling at 99.4% of their list price. You have to go in with the understanding that every one of these cities and suburbs kind of has like their own little micro housing market, if that makes sense. In one area, that lowball offer of 20% below list price will take the day, while in other areas, they're routinely selling above list price. There's nothing consistent about it, and before you overpay, you need to know Dallas well, or let us know Dallas well for you. And this is even more true with new construction, Some master plan communities will have like multiple builders, So let's just say there are 5 builders, you might have one that's so popular it's getting, multiple offers. Then you might have 3, that are just mostly selling their homes at list price. But you may have that lone one who's accepting any offer they can get. And this is especially true when it comes to large builders whose financial motivation you don't know anything about, And that's okay because you can't be expected to know all of that, but you need to work with someone who does, So the key factor here is analyzing the market. For example, like when we have a new client, If they're looking at new construction, we're going to complete a full market analysis on the entire area they're considering, Because we want to identify which of the builders within a neighborhood are the most motivated, Another thing we look at is inventory, Which homes have been sitting on the market for a while that the seller might be even more motivated to accept a lower price on, So like even within just one new construction neighborhood, you might find massive differences in demand and motivation. The most important thing to remember here is don't underestimate the power of a motivated seller and getting the very best possible price you can. And we're here to help make sure that happens. The second thing you need to know about the Dallas housing market is it is very investor heavy. In fact, investors purchased about 30% of all single family homes in the Dallas-Fort Worth area last year. They range from like mom and pop landlords and flippers, even to like really large companies, According to Dallas Morning News, the reason for this is that investors want to own real estate in markets such as Dallas, which performed well during the global financial crisis and which is also becoming more diversified in the types of jobs that it attracts. Now, this is a real problem in Dallas because it's pricing out the first-time home buyer. Often the first-time home buyer doesn't have a large down payment, and they certainly don't have all cash, right? Investors come in with all cash, and the first-time home buyer can't compete with that. It is a frustrating reality, that Dallas residents have to deal with, okay? And when we refer to things like iBuyers, such as Open Door, housing analyst John Burns does have some good news for us, okay? He said their share of the U.S. and local housing markets has actually declined over the last couple of quarters. He explained that two of the best known players in the space, Zillow Group and Redfin, both shuttered their iBuying businesses in 2021 and 2022. In fact, Mitchell Parton explains that now that we're past the 2021 home value peak, many investors are pressing the pause button due to rising interest rates along with rising property taxes. So iBuyers closing up shop, investors hitting the pause button. These are all great developments for the first-time home buyer, but unfortunately overall, Dallas is still very investor heavy. Okay, the third thing you need to know is that Texas is both affordable and completely unaffordable. Strange as that may sound, okay? Texas ranks number 17 on the list, meaning you have 16 states that are more expensive and 33 that are less expensive. Doug Carlin explains that the Value 100 defines the average cost of living throughout the whole United States, and anything below that means the cost of living is lower than average. Well, Texas rates as 8.5 below that 100 value. Now keep in mind also that that rating applies to Texas, right, the entire state, and unfortunately Dallas is considered the least affordable metro area in Texas. In fact, Ben Russell of NBC reports a recent ranking has determined that the Dallas-Fort Worth area is the least affordable region in the state of Texas. Basically, you can watch a pros and cons video of Dallas and be told a pro is the cost of living, and you can watch another video and be told it's a con, okay? Now this is why Dallas's affordability is located in the middle, and really, honestly, it depends on where you're coming from and what your definition of affordable is. So really just from a strategic standpoint, okay, you definitely want to get familiar to how your state compares to Texas and also to Dallas before you make any big plans on moving here. And speaking of Dallas's affordability, or the lack thereof, you need to know that number 4, demand in Dallas is propping up prices. Interest rates at 6.5% have just slaughtered affordability. For every 1% change in interest rates, home prices have to change by approximately like 11% to get the same monthly payment. So just to get back to the affordability we had at 3% interest rates last year, home prices would need to drop by 33%. Because of this, we would expect demand and prices to be like dropping off the edge of a cliff, but instead we're seeing prices like holding their own and just kind of inch up a bit. And I realize that makes no sense whatsoever, okay? But this is just another way that the Dallas housing market is confusing. Prices should be dropping, instead they're going up. All right, but don't believe me, I can understand that, it's palpable. Let me show you, okay? In Denton County in January of 2022, we saw a median sales price of $420,000. In February of 2023, we see a median sales price of $425,000. In Collin County in January of 2022, we saw a median sales price of $465,000. In February 2023, we see a median sales price of $485,000. In Dallas County, in January of 2022, we saw a median sales price of $315,000. February, that median sales price is $345,000. Moving on over to Tarrant County, in January of 2022, we saw a median sales price of $327,000. By February, we were looking at $339,945. In Rockwall County, in January of 2022, we saw a median sales price of $390,000. And then, you guessed it, by February of 2023, it had gone up to $415,000. And finally, in Ellis County, we saw a median sales price in January of 2022 of $377,923, and by February, we see a median sales price of $374,900. We have entire subgroups of people waiting for prices to drop before they enter the market, and instead prices are rising. Like, there is no logic to this, with interest rates being so much higher than they were a year ago. But that explanation is demand, okay? 300 people a day are moving into Dallas, and you couple that with spring and summer being our busiest times. Moving on to number 5, you need to know that Dallas has major seasonal price swings, okay? Dallas just has a history of this. That part of the reason we saw such a steep drop in prices last fall was because the Fed raised rates during the time the housing market would typically be declining anyway. So 2022 was definitely more extreme, but on the good side of things, history shows us that Dallas's historical price swings always recover. I'll give you some examples of that. In 2018, we saw values go up 15%, drop 10%, and then go back up 4%. In 2019, we saw values up 15%, drop 8%, and then go back up 4%. In 2020, we saw values up 4%, drop 1%, and then shoot up 12%. In 2021, we saw values up 17%, down 4%, and then back up 4%. In 2022, we saw values jump 15% and continue dropping until January for a total of 12%. Then in February, we saw that small rebound of around 2.5%. By being aware of this seasonality, you can be strategic in your home purchase, okay? So for example, there'll be less to choose from in January, but you'll get a better price, okay? You can make low offers in January, but if you're still looking by March, you'll need to transition to where you might even need to offer above the list price. And this is, again, where you can rely on us to keep you informed on market activity, okay? You don't want to go in with guns blazing in January offering above the list price. Basically, what it boils down to, okay, is seasonality is a powerful force and you need to use it. And finally, moving on to number 6, South Dallas is more affordable than North Dallas. Okay, so if your wallet is a big influencer in your buying decisions, you need to know areas to the south of Dallas are always more affordable than areas north. For example, the current median sales price in Collin County, which is directly north of Dallas County, is $485,000, okay? Its median price per square foot is $204. In Ellis County, directly south of Dallas County, its current median sales price is $374,900, and its price per square foot is $183. Now let's just take a look just at Dallas County, okay? The city of Dallas's median sales price is $407,000, with its median price per square foot at right around $235. But then if you look at the southern end, okay, of Dallas County, cities like Cedar Hill and Duncanville, they have a median sales price of around $292,000 and a median price per square foot of around $158. Shane Lee is a data scientist with Realty Hop, and he explains that Collin County is the most expensive. Although when it comes to housing affordability, Dallas is the most unaffordable, and that's because people in Dallas County make less than those in Collin or Rockwall. So again, you can see that affordability is ultimately subjective to where you're coming from, what you can afford, and what part of Dallas you're moving to. Now, that may lead you to all kinds of questions about why the north and the south sides of Dallas are so different in price and how else they're different. Well, lucky for you, we did an entire video on the huge differences between the north versus the south sides of Dallas that you can watch right here. In the meantime, Wendy out.